Hey crypto friends, for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Garrett and welcome to Altcoin Radar. Now, since I love trying all kinds of different trading strategies in the crypto market, today I am going to show you guys another super simple day trading strategy that you guys can try for yourself. It's a little bit of a spin-off of my regular go-to strategy that I use on a regular basis, but it's a little bit different and you'll see that here in a little bit. Now, for those of you who love trading crypto and would like to try out the same exchange that I use on a regular basis, feel free to go ahead and try out the Blowfin exchange here with the link in the video description down below this video. I personally love this exchange because they allow anybody from anywhere to be able to sign up and trade crypto futures. So if you are from the United States like I am and you want to trade crypto futures, you can do it right here on the Blowfin exchange. However, if you're from New York or California, you may run into issues when trying to sign up. So if you're from those states, it may not end up working for you. All right, guys, so who is this specific strategy for? All right, so for this specific strategy, it's basically for people who are after small but consistent profits rather than the large percentage profits from swing trading. So for instance, when you see the guys on Twitter, for instance, and they're talking about their, 100%, 200x gains or 200% gains from their trades and stuff like that, this is not for people who are trading like that. This is for people who want to be in and out of trades within 15 minutes to within 15 minutes to maybe a couple hours or so, okay? This is not for swing trading. This is for people who want to make small but consistent profits. Now, as far as which indicators you need, all right, this is kind of the big thing, okay? So first of all, the main indicator that we're going to be using here is going to be the simple moving average, okay? So this is basically the simple moving average, and it's going to be at the 7 period, okay? So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go to indicators and you're going to type in EMA, and not EMA. You're going to type in SMA and you're going to click on moving average simple. It's going to add it to your chart here. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to the gear icon or the settings icon and you are going to change the input to 7. All right, so change it to 7 and then it will be all set for you. Now, as far as other indicators that you can use different indicators for a small layer of confirmation as well. I like to use the MACD indicator for this specific strategy, but you can also use other lagging indicators such as the, like the RSI or something like that. You can also use Bollinger Bands too if you really want to, but realistically, I like to use either the MACD or the RSI. And again, I'm not making my decisions off of these indicators. I am just simply using these indicators for kind of like a small layer of overall confidence, okay? So as far as indicators are concerned, you definitely want your 7 period SMA and you want some sort of lagging indicator if you want to use one. You do not have to use one, okay? It's kind of optional. It's just one of those things where, it just kind of gives you an extra layer of confidence when you are trading the market here on the 15-minute chart. All right, now as far as time frames are concerned, all right, I mainly only trade the 15-minute charts, okay? So if you are up for trading, the smaller time frames such as the 15-minute chart as opposed to the 4-hour charts or the 1-hour charts, then this is going to be a good video for you, all right? Now, you can use other charts. You can use the 1-hour chart. You can use the 4-hour chart. You can use the daily chart and shit. You can even use the 5-minute chart or even the 1-minute chart too. But just for the sake of this video and simplicity, since I use the 15-minute chart on a regular basis, that is going to be the chart that we are going to be using here. Now, as far as there's one more thing that I want to explain here before I actually go ahead and show you the strategy or how it works here. But the one thing that I do want to get across here is some kind of conditional rules here, okay? Now, I do not trade this market when price action is moving sideways, okay? So like when price action is like this right in here, right in this area right here, I do not trade this kind of shit, okay? And the way that you can tell is, for instance, for me, when I look at the MACD, for instance, the MACD indicator down here, when I see the signal line and the MACD line starting to go kind of straight across rather than going, their typical snake formation, when they start going sideways across like that, I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm not even going to try to chance it, and I'm just going to stay out, okay? And the reason why is because it's just simply too damn risky, and I don't want to take on those kinds of risks. So that is that reason why I don't want to do that. So again, stay out when the market is moving sideways like that, okay? Now, as far as other layers of confirmation, I personally love to use candlestick patterns. As some of you know who do watch my videos on a regular basis, I talk about candlestick patterns quite often, especially as of lately. And if you guys aren't familiar with what candlestick patterns are, you can go to my channel here and go to my playlists. And I have got all kinds of different videos in my technical analysis playlist right here. And one of those videos actually is a video I did about 2 weeks ago, Secret Crypto Trading Patterns Nobody Will Ever Tell You. And it is it's purely about nothing but candlestick patterns, and they're very, very, very extremely useful to use when you are trying to trade the crypto market. So if you are curious on what candlestick patterns are, you can come over here, watch this video, and it's a very in-depth video, so you will get everything you will need to know about candlestick patterns right there. All right. So as far as that is concerned, let's go ahead and actually dive into this and see what we got going on here. So the way that I look at this is pretty much for those of you who've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I use the EMAs a lot. The estimated moving averages. I typically love to use both the 20-period EMA and the 50-period EMA. And then I also use the 200 EMA a lot for, a layer of support, or I look at it as a layer of support, okay? So when we are looking at this 7-period moving average right here, we can clearly see that when price is obviously bearish for the overall trend, we can see that the 7-period EMA or the 7-period SMA is on top of the price action, as you guys can clearly see right here. And when things are bullish and we've got a bullish trend going on, price action is on top of the moving average that we've got going on here. So as you guys can already tell, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about here has a lot to do with overall direction of where these candlestick pattern or of where these candles are, okay? So the way that I would look at this is for instance, right down here, okay? So if I am looking to, let's say the price action is currently dropping from this level right down in here, okay? What I'm going to do here is obviously what I can see, and this just comes from years of trading this market as well, is what I can clearly see right here is, first of all, one, this giant big candle came all the way down here, right? And then it ended up going back up. But we also had a decent support area right down here as well. So that tells me that, price may not end up going much further than this support level, which it clearly didn't, as you guys can clearly see. So technically it did break through it and it did close below it, but it did not go much further than that, okay? At this point in time, when price was already way far down here, it's so far deviated away from the 7-period moving average that we can fully expect that, momentum is going to start building again, which, as you guys can clearly see, it definitely did in the next candle. So we wait for the next candle to open, right? This next candle ended up opening. It ended up reversing and going back upwards to the upside, and you can clearly see it on the MACD down here as well, okay? Now, this is that snake pattern I was talking about with the MACD that I like so much. So when we can clearly see that the MACD and the signal line are way, way, way far down below the histogram, that tells us that, hey, obviously things are pretty darn oversold here, and we could be due for a short-term move to the upside here and a reversal, and that's exactly what started to happen right there. So when this histogram bar started to turn light pink instead of another big, dark red one, that tells me that momentum or selling momentum is starting to get smaller and smaller. So I'm going to wait for the next candle to open and see what happens there. So this candle ended up closing right here, and then the next candle ended up opening, and we get another light pink candle. That tells me that momentum is weakening even more, and that's kind of my overall confirmation. But we also did end up crossing to the upside of the 7-period SMA right here as well, which is, again, like I was talking about before, when price action is on top of the 7-period SMA or the moving averages, it typically means that, we've got bullish momentum going on in the market right now, and we could have moves going further and further to the upside. And as you guys can clearly see, that's exactly what happened right here, because not only did the MACD end up flipping over to green, but we ended up crossing over the 7-period SMA right here, and we continued to go higher and higher. So I would have entered right after this candle closure right in here. So I would have entered somewhere within this white candle right in here, okay? So if you would have entered right into this candle right here, and then you would ride it all the way up to probably, usually what I like to do is I like to mark out different layers of support and resistance as well. So I would have ended up marking out, first of all, this layer right here, because this is kind of the top end of this sideways action that we had going on right here. And then I would have also ended up marking out probably right around in this area. And then I would have also ended up marking out the top layer of this level right in here, okay? So as you guys can clearly see, the top end of this area right in here where I just marked this line is also the top of where we actually ended up stopping out and started dropping from there, all right? So that tells me again further that that would have been a good spot to mark as a good level right there, even though at the time of me trading this right here, this wouldn't have been formed yet, obviously. But we can, we got that level from looking at a previous level back in history. All right. So now we would have entered our position right in here. Okay. And we would have ended up riding it all the way up. And I'm still looking at the MACD down here as well. Okay. The MACD is telling me how strong the momentum is, or how strong the overall bullish momentum is, and that is kind of what I'm going off of here as far as where I should end up selling. Okay, so I can clearly tell that we did end up getting a smaller green candle right here, or a light green candle here, and we started going down a little bit. Okay, now I would have initially probably ended up selling right here, which would have netted me probably around, let's see here, with 10x leverage. Well, usually you end up selling wherever the first one hits, so right around in here. So with 10x leverage, I would have made about 14% profits right there, okay? So if you're trading with, let's say, I don't know, if you're trading with like $1,000 or something like that, you would have made roughly around 150 bucks right there within a matter of like 2 hours or so. But it ended up coming down, and we ended up crossing back below the moving average right here. But we didn't end up turning red on the MACD right here, which is a good thing. We actually ended up staying light green, and the MACD and the signal line ended up continuing higher, which tells me that bullish momentum is still here, and it would be safe to enter another long position once we end up crossing above the moving average right here again, okay? So if we would have ended up doing that again, we simply wait for a decent candle closure above the 7-period SMA, which would have been probably, realistically, I probably would have gotten in right around here somewhere. And then you just simply ride it all the way up to the top until we get that next first green, light green candle in the MACD histogram, which obviously you can clearly see on the chart right here. It ends right at this resistance area where I set this resistance area from the very beginning here, all right? And it also lines up with where it starts to, where the bullish momentum starts to wean off and bearish momentum starts to take over, and we start going down again. So on this trade right here, we would have netted roughly around, right around 32, almost 33% profits right there with 10x leverage. So, and this would have only taken 3 hours right here, all right? This little move right here. So as you guys can clearly see, we got a 3-hour move right here. And then earlier we had a 2-hour move as well with around, roughly around, what did I say? What was that profit? Let's see here, with around like 12% profit. So we've got 12% plus, let's see here, I'm so bad at math. 12% plus 30, what was this other one? 12% plus 33%, 33, 43, that's like 45%. That's like 45% profits we made in just 5 hours, guys, okay? So that just goes to tell you right there that you can make some decent money trading with just these little bits, just these little strategies here, okay? And they kind of go hand in hand. Now, here's the thing, guys. This is not one of those things where I'm saying that you're going to get rich off of this or anything like that, okay? This is one of those things where, not every trading strategy works for every single person. It all depends on how your personality is, okay? For instance, people who use the Elliott wave theory in their trading, great, that works for them. The Elliott wave theory does not work for somebody like me. It just doesn't. I've tried it many, many times. I do not like it. It does not work with my personality whatsoever, okay? I'm a big EMA trader. I love trading with EMAs. They just click for me. They work great for me, and I love using them. And they work out great for me, and I profit from them almost every single time. So that's why I continue to use them. So this is just a perfect example of me explaining that Not every trading strategy is going to work for every single person. So if you are trying this strategy and it's not working for you, it's not because the strategy doesn't work. It's simply because it doesn't work for you because you have a different personality than me, okay? So again, it all depends on what type of personality you have, what your trading goals are, how good you are at trading on these smaller 15-minute time frames, what coin you're trading, all kinds of different variables here, okay? But overall, it's pretty much the same thing. The strategy works the same way if you're trying to short the market as well, okay? So obviously, as you guys can clearly see, we ended up crossing over the 7-period SMA right here, as you guys can clearly see. And on top of that, the MACD started to change over to red right here. So I would have gotten in right there, and you could have ended up profiting from right here all the way down. You would have ended up profiting probably right around like 9% or something like that. But that's still a decent, solid profit. And again, the same thing right here. All right. We did have a light pink candle right in here, or a light pink bar on the histogram, but the next bar turned dark red, okay? And as you guys can clearly see, we were underneath the 7-period SMA as well once again, and the next one ended up opening up dark red as well. That tells us that, okay, well, momentum is really, really weak here. We could end up getting into another short right here and dropping and going down again, and you would have ended up making another, roughly around 23% or so here on this trade as well, just from shorting. So overall here, guys, within 1 day of trading here, you could have easily made roughly around maybe 70 to 80% profits here just from using this simple strategy here, okay? So overall, it's pretty simple. It just takes some time to kind of get used to. I don't expect people to kind of understand this and kind of get it right away. Realistically, it doesn't work that way. But another thing you want to be paying attention to also here is candlestick patterns as well, okay? So what I'm talking about here with candlestick patterns is, for instance, right up here, I can clearly see that we have got I can clearly see that right here we've got pretty much kind of like a shooting star candle that kind of started to form right in here, which obviously a shooting star candle, if you're not familiar with shooting star candles or candlestick patterns at all, like I was mentioning earlier, feel free to come over and look at my video here with the secret crypto trading patterns. Nobody will tell you. I named it that way because literally nobody talks about candlestick patterns ever, but they're extremely useful, so I wanted to go over it. So overall here, we've got the candlestick patterns right here. We've got the shooting star candle right here. That's a bearish candlestick pattern, and that obviously, as you guys can clearly see, the next candle ended up opening, and we ended up dropping from there and dropping even further. Now again, here's another candlestick pattern right here going on, right, like literally right here. This is a crystal clear hammer candle going on right here. Hammer candles are a bullish hammer candle. Bullish hammer candles are obviously bullish, and you can clearly see that after the bullish hammer candle kind of made out, the next candle ended up opening green and gone straight up, and then the next candle went straight up, and now we're sitting at resistance right here. So again, if you would have ended up trading that one right there, I mean, you'd be at roughly, about 14% profits right now with 10x leverage right there, okay? So overall, candlestick patterns, they can really, really help you out quite a bit, especially when you mix them in with your overall trading strategy like I kind of did right in here. So you want to make sure that you are paying attention to all of these things. You will make money if you end up doing this properly, and you pay attention to all of these different aspects here as well. So all right, guys, that's a lot of talking, but before I go ahead and wrap up this video, if you guys want to see more videos like this, you can find more in my technical analysis playlist here on my channel. I showed you guys that earlier. You go to playlists and you go to technical analysis, and that's where I put all of my videos that are just like this one, okay? So if you want to learn more, you can do that right there. But before you guys leave, if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the like button below the video, and leave me a comment below on your personal thoughts on what you thought of this video. And for those of you guys who stuck around and watched this entire video throughout the whole thing, thank you guys very, very much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I hope to see you guys all in my future videos as well.